You are watching an exclusive interview, and today our guest is Valery Lashukov, the CEO and founder of the Kuntsevo group of companies. The Kuntsevo Industrial Group was founded in 1992 and has since established itself as one of the leading manufacturers of fast food products in Russia. Since its foundation, the company has set itself the goal of combining high quality and affordable prices. Their range includes ready-to-eat breakfasts, mashed potatoes, French fries, cereals, and many other products that undergo regular certification. In an interview with Valery Lashukov, we will discuss important issues related to the implementation of the honest sign labeling system, its impact on the market, as well as the benefits and challenges that the company faces in this process.
As I say, our task is to clarify without such, polymetricized details what this mark specifically means for you, yes, specifically for your company, and what you would like. As we discussed in this webinar with the Potato Union, perhaps this mark is not necessary for your products. Or maybe it is necessary, but it is unclear where the finances will go. That is, the payment. Is this a fiscal mark or is it voluntary labeling? Is it clear to you whether this is a fiscal mark or not? Well, it's not clear to me yet.
It is clear to me that this is a theft of money from our company.
Well, all right, it's about taking money from you. Do you know how it works? Taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor, or taking money from the poor and giving it to the rich?
On the contrary, it is the wealthier people who have access to money, not us.
Well, it's clear. Yes, we were just discussing it. With a representative from the USSR, I also made a report. I spoke with Mikhail Danilov regarding Saturn. He also mentioned that we should study the finished product, and if there are any issues, such as prohibited substances found in it, we should address those. Not controlling what the farmer contributes means he won't add anything unnecessary. Of course, I completely agree with him, 100%. We are gradually working this out, and we plan to invite Rospotrebnadzor to an open discussion in Yugra. You know, people just don't understand what they are doing. As I said, we want to do what's best, but it always turns out the same way. If we can guide people a little and say, guys, we agree with you, so let's try it this way, it could be different from another perspective.
We are not against it. We would be happy to, but when there is no contact with the same honest mark, we write to them, guys, but we have encountered such a problem, with the implementation. The most important issue right now is financial losses. I will simply explain why.
On implementation?
Yes, for implementation. The generation of one honest mark costs 60 kopecks. Here I have 60 kopecks. 60 kopecks when all this was introduced. It started back in 1919. They wanted this. Fur coats, they say. Half are sold illegally, half like this. So let's do it, to be honest. Well, they did it, for God's sake. I don't know what the effect is. But 60 kopecks on the cost of a fur coat is nothing. This does not affect the cost. Do you understand? They are now introducing this data. They have already implemented it for milk and water. Now it has already touched us. The grocery sector. The grocery sector. We calculated, I took one plant, the Vologda plant, and we calculated what we have. We produce 47 million units of products per year. But for us, its cost is very low at 6 rubles, 8 rubles, 10 rubles, and 20 rubles. Do you understand? We produce millions of batches. Accordingly, we release 47 million units. And the cost associated with the implementation of the fiscal mark will be 60 kopecks per operator. The payment for generating the mark is 30 kopecks, which is for applying this honest mark on the packaging, and 10 kopecks is for the implementation of various machines. Just one packaging machine costs about 3 million rubles on average for implementation, plus we need people to work. So we are looking at 47 million rubles that we owe, roughly speaking, for producing the product. And now I see the figures. At the same time, the enterprise had a profit of only 32 million rubles. You understand? The profit tax was 8 million, and now we will have to pay 47 million rubles with a profit of 32. So, where is the enterprise supposed to operate?
Well, it makes sense that it operates at a loss, yes.
Of course, that's it. It's the end. In light of the current decisions, with what is happening to people now, there are enough problems with people. Salaries have increased by 40%, and productivity by 15%. I used to be happy about a 15% increase, but now I am not happy. I am crying because this is bad. This is wonderful for business. So we tell them, guys, listen, how can this be? We need to carry out modernization, that is, robotization, replacing people with robots. We had planned for this. The robot costs about 15-20 million. We think that we will direct the profits there now and install a couple of robots. That's it. Where else will we be in business? We tell them there must be differentiation. A cheap product, small, with a general tax value of up to 50 rubles is free. Let's say from 50 to 106 kopecks either way. But for more expensive goods, such as tires and tape recorders, they can be taxed at 10 or 20 rubles. This is not very important. Here, this is what we are trying to convey, but we see nothing. Do you understand?
So the question is whether the cost of generation should be a percentage of the product's cost, right?
Of course, either a percentage ratio or at some place, for example, at the cash register, this money should be collected. You understand. But you might think that there are programmers sitting there. We looked at how many of them are working, that there are 200 people, 300 programmers. You see, they are investing money, right? That's it. You see, that's the problem right now. And we will end up like an island then, as there are many enterprises like ours. We are talking to other businessmen, and they say that seasonings are made very cheaply, including peppers. There will also be significant levies involved. What does this mean? It's 5 times more than the profit tax. The profit tax is 8 million at the new enterprise, while the honest mark will cost 40. How?
Naturally, this should be taken into account along with some costs. This will likely be a cost that the buyer will cover. In other words, we are talking about an increase in the product's price. Whom will buy it.
No, that's not true. Look, the market is the market. There is a price in the market. Supply. Demand price. We only exceed the price. Demand is falling. Logical business. And they all say, let's raise prices. Hello, guys. Hello? How to raise the price? Consumers say that we have inflation. And if we raise the price, people still won't buy from us. That's the issue.
Now tell me, let's say you produce, we are currently talking about potatoes. These are potato flakes, cups, a bag of potato flakes. And for foreign manufacturers, will this honest mark be introduced? Or does it mean that you are also facing additional losses?
No, it will be implemented for everyone. Customs will be subject to the honest mark for all. That is, it won't be taxed, but products will be printed with the honest mark when they are brought in. I see it this way according to the law. There will be uncertainty about whether or not there will be an honest mark on products, for example, those exported from Kazakhstan, a member of the Eurasian Union. Well, for example, in Uzbekistan or China, there is no need to place anything.
And if it is an export, on the contrary, from China or Kazakhstan, do they need to ping?
They should. Well, I don't know if they will do it. They are not implementing the system right now. Currently, we only know that the honest mark is developing a system for Kyrgyzstan, the beautiful and scenic Kyrgyzstan.
That is, the honest mark system turns out to be a regrettably unprofitable initiative for small and medium enterprises. This is the case in the current context and under the given conditions.
No, look, Victor, if a small enterprise sells fur coats, for them it's like, well, absolutely. What does it cost? Say 20, 30,000 rubles, you understand. For them, 60 kopecks means nothing. But when there are obstacles like ours, for example, they produce millions of types of products, but they are cheap. How much do these instant porridge cups cost? You see, they go for about 14 rubles at the factory, 14 rubles, and they have 60 kopecks, which is a significant amount from the turnover. We are trying to address the issue with the honest sign system. I told the operator, guys, we have this problem. Let's find a way to solve it. She says, ministry will respond to you. Private company, what does ministry have to do with this? Respond. The Ministry of Agriculture has also written, describing the situation. It's the same story. A month has passed, and after a month, they wrote something. Oh, we will respond to you in another month. Another month has passed, and again there is silence. We wrote about the discussion. This is the discussion system on the government website. So far, there has been neither response nor greeting. Everywhere, so to speak, there is silence. We are currently trying to reach out through various unions, like the Potato Union and Rosprod-Soyuz, but the guys have immediately stepped aside. Oh, not everything can be resolved there, and everything is pushed aside. The Potato Union is trying to help solve this problem. Accordingly, we have now reached out to the RSPP and Business Russia, described our problem, and we will have meetings. I am also going to the factory where representatives from the RSPP will come to observe the production and look into this issue, trying to help us. But this problem is quite persistent. The dairy producers also tried to address it. And the water suppliers tried to do the same, but they achieved nothing. But this problem is very large. Extracting money from the food sector, which produces inexpensive products, and raising prices, as you understand, should not be done because it is not permissible. There is a market price, a consumer price, and a demand price. Here is the problem. The most important thing is that we read on the website what this is all created for. It says that it is created to fight against counterfeiting and falsification. In reality, it does not provide anything. We work in real production. You see, I work out regularly at the gym. I buy protein after training. I bought it and did a Belgian analysis. The honest mark is on one can indicating 90% protein and on another 70. In short, they are not reporting correctly. It's a forgery. So how has the honest mark helped here? Not at all. It provides nothing. You see, if we want to make a certificate, we can easily make it at the factory and we will have a clean mark, but it will not give anything to consumers.
Does the installation of this mark guarantee the quality of the product for the end consumer?
Of course not. We are saying, guys, what do you want? Everything is done somehow. There may be a misunderstanding or some kind of trickery. That's how I see it. It seems to me that people want to earn good money. According to our estimates, we read that the press produces about 100 billion rubles, which, let's agree, is not a small amount of money. So, all of this is somehow done, either due to misunderstanding or because I can't understand the purpose of the communication. There are no explanations. And accordingly, you see the same thing with mercury, which is used to combat this issue. Regarding the illegal use of plant protection products, well, everything is again about the entire struggle with the specification, the addition of plant proteins. Well, we had it. We have now moved away from this agriculture. What should it really be like? They should be traveling, collecting samples from the farms and submitting them. No one is going anywhere or submitting anything. In short, milk is submitted once every 2 weeks and that's it. Do you understand? This is all a sham. It's complicated and it's hard to understand for what purpose. Similarly, there are other systems here. The same as this. Saturn, right? This is again accounting. We have agronomists sitting here. Instead of being in the fields, they are sitting here writing these crazy reports. Then Gisgrain Saturn. This is just crazy. Right now, or this Gisgrain 2? Yes, the report. Overall production. I say, guys, what are you comparing? You are comparing grain with finished products, which include sugar, milk, and everything else. You explain what it is, but you won't see anything. You can't compare. It's impossible. Read the law. That's it. The law is finished. Do you understand? The same dairy products are currently being produced, including butter. You see, various promotions are happening now, where producers of different oils are buying and saying, here, this amount of vegetable protein does not match. Here it matches. Here it does not match. The honest mark is everywhere. This means it does not help at all. Absolutely. It's just words, nothing more. That's all.
Well, yes, as usual, as we have already discussed. The great words of the great man Viktor Stepanovich Chernomyrdin. I wanted to do my best, but it turned out as always. And perhaps, let's try to invite those people who are responsible for this honest mark to engage in dialogue, not just discussion, because, it's not the most important thing to be heard. The most important thing is to be understood.
We are not against it. Let's meet. We would be happy to meet. Please explain. You see, such costs are currently a problem for us with our people. Money is also expensive right now, you know. We need to find a way to solve the problem. But how are we going to solve it? At whose expense? This mark, which gives us nothing, will cost us money. There are not enough people now, and now people will have to deal with this labeling. Well, this is called trash, it's a youth word, trash. This is trash indeed. We say, guys, how many debts do you have? Bankruptcy is coming. Bankruptcy will just happen, really. Because we still have good profits from our work, we have several enterprises. In one, we have problems, but we live off the profits from another. Here, the problem is agriculture. The profit comes from the combine. We can still maneuver within the holding. And who, for example, were the guys we talked to a long time ago, the dairy producers from Nizhny Novgorod. We were running a small factory. They say, that's it, we're closing down. They say, well, guys, we just can't handle this. They ask, why have such a business? And they say, that's it, we're closing down, that's all. There will remain more or less large ones, those that will survive. But this should not be the case. I believe this is wrong. It is nonsense.
Valery Ilyich, I then propose that what we may have agreed upon is that those responsible for the implementation of the fair mark, especially for such significant products in lower price categories, should hear you, understand, and of course, perhaps explain more clearly why this mark is being introduced. Maybe there is something we don't know, something we don't see, and we are ready to agree. Perhaps they will see and hear us, and yes, they will make a decision in our favor.
Well, I will tell you, yes. Well, let's talk. There are no questions. I have another version, so to speak, that people mention. One of the versions is that the honest mark from the accounting system is an additional measure to prevent people from allegedly evading taxes, as the products will be accounted for, making it impossible for them to evade taxes. This is one version. On the other hand, what is the other version? On one side, on the other side, what is the version? So now all enterprises will be, you could say, if you behave poorly, bam, disconnected from the honest mark, and you won't be able to sell, you understand. This is also one of the versions, as one person said, the Moscow taxi drivers talk about it, you understand. That's how it is. Maybe that's what they want. But again, you don't understand, guys. In modern conditions, no one evades tax payments by producing illegal goods in such a twisted way. There are no such fools left. They have all died out. Do you understand? If people want to evade, they will find other methods to do so. But accounting will not help here.
Yes, I agree. Here, we must think primarily and focus on the end consumer, who will ultimately pay. And will this cause any additional social tension with the increase in product prices?
Well, of course, we produce the cheapest products, and raising the price, as they said. Let's raise the price. Well, let's say it will go up by 10, 15%, and then another 5% higher. Why? People understand. Not everyone can afford to buy various products, like in Moscow, for example. We supply more to the regions. We operate in Russia, and there is very little of our product supply in Moscow. And mainly in Russia, where there are small shops and where people do not live very richly, so to speak. And accordingly, each increase is very critical for them. Our product is good. We bought it for the child. It costs us 6 rubles, while in the store it's 12, 14 rubles. Porridge goes up to 80. We bought it for the child and fed him, you understand.
I would like to sincerely express my heartfelt wish that the honest mark is truly honest for everyone, and that the initiative coming from the government engages producers not only in discussions, but also in understanding what this honest mark does, and that it helps you compete effectively in a competitive market.
But we are not against it. Guys, let's make it real. If you want, let's sit down. Just ask us what you are doing. Do you understand? When things are done without us, it turns into a mess. We are dealing with this nonsense. The same situation exists now as well. There is grain. Again, guys, do you understand? You introduced millions of products to us and they started to implement the system manually. But thank God, now no one is entering this data because there are no fines, nothing at all. But can you imagine entering 1 million items into an invoice manually? You can do it with 1S, integrating everything so that it all happens automatically. We released it and everything went smoothly. No, you are still mostly there. You understand madness. Is there no implementation from you? Read the law. The answer is everything.
Well, I think that in this case there are people who love numbers and enjoy compiling tables. But unfortunately, producers do not relate to this. They have time to engage in production.
Of course, it's still the same honest mark. We just can't understand how they work. Everything is hidden, you see, all in state secrecy, no balance, no idea how they operate, no silicones, nothing. Well, it should be open, guys. We are paying money. You should also open up, show yourselves, say, yes, prove that you are doing something interesting that we are investing money in. Well, invest, for God's sake.
Money is going to a good cause.
Yes, we do not understand this. Everything is hidden. How much they earned today, they disappeared in 2019. And that's it. And silence. There's nothing secret about your honest sign. It's just ordinary statistics, you see, which are known in Russia. It's just to ensure that nothing extra is seen. That's all.
I understand. Thank you very much for your time, Vladimir Yurievich. I am waiting for information from you. If